hang on a minute, hang on. What I'd completely forgotten about was that the one that you're going to see on Saturday, that I did, as I say, on June the 6th, what the setup was really pretty abysmal. And so, let's look at these two and see what the setup is like on these. See if we can play them straight out of the box. But you can't. Right, okay, so FE number 1, and don't forget we are on a Fender scale with these. Let's look at the first one. Oh, right, okay. Now that is a significant improvement on the one that I reviewed. That is exactly, even though I'm slightly myopic, but that does look exactly right to me. String height, string height, string height, string height. Oh, well, you can tell by I feel. Oh no, it's a little bit high. Hang on, let me get the gauge. Right, okay, so let's look at, so top E at the 12th fret should be roughly about 125, or 1.25 I should say, but if you can see that, that is weighing in, that's weighing in at roughly 1.75, so the string height is too high, but should be fairly easy to adjust with these little Fender style saddles. So let's have that down to where it should be and see what happens. Okay, so when you're addressing string height only, which is pretty simple, you just stick a little Allen key in here and obviously make the adjustments as necessary. But what you do need to see is that they're all kind of even, yet taking into account the radius of the neck. So, you know, pretty simple, but a little bit of practice and, you know, you'll be absolutely fine with it. The other thing is that when we are checking for choking, it's not just a case of not just a case of how the string plays as it sits on the fretboard. You also need to check for choking whilst bending, because that's when it will most frequently occur. So and usually any bending difficulties will occur above the 12th fret. And so there we go. We are all beautifully set up. So it did need a bit of mucking about with, you know, not really much. Let's have a look at number 2. So number 2 is slightly different in the regard that it does have a piece of anti-acid paper underneath the strings. True, and there are some words on there that tell you something. I'm sure that will be interesting to somebody. Right, okay, so first up we're going to check the neck straightness, which is oh my word, 2 out of 2. Oh no, hang on. No, that's a little bit gappy. That is indeed a little bit gappy. Yeah. Oh, damn it. Right, so that's going to have to get the truss rod straightened slightly. And look at the action. That really is woeful. Nancy would be mortified, I'm sure. So let's see what we can do with that, see if we can make it right. Yeah, and before we go any further, the last one was at 1.75 at the 12th on the high E. This one is weighing in at 2, which is unplayable. So, right, let's see what happens. So, look, I'll be honest with you here. I was going to cheat and really, well, not cheat exactly, but I was going to just do it and then show you it done perfectly. But let's see what's got to happen, because the neck relief is just out by, well, not, I was going to say yards, obviously not yards, but it's just. So what happens is, if you've got too great a curvature, then your string height will be too high. That's just physics. So that weighed in at 2 on the 12th, and so I'm going to see what difference, and I do want you to see this. So we're going to see what difference it makes. Just tighten up the truss rod without making any other alterations. So let's have that off, and I'll stick my tool in. You can see what goes on. Okay, so we do have the right size key, and a general rule of thumb here is that with the strings detensioned or off altogether, then the fretboard should be roughly flat, dead straight, and you do not need to buy one of these. You can use I made one here for a base. You can just use a long ruler, mark where the frets are, and chop lumps out with an angle grinder or whatever tool suits you best. So there you go. Right, so we need to tighten this up because that curvature is far too great. Oh my word, that's as slack as anything. That's because, no, that's right, I'm turning the right way. So I'm going to turn it until I start to feel some bite. Oh, there's nothing going on there at all. No, that's as loose as it gets. Still loose. I mean, generally speaking, half a turn should have this sorted out. No, that is loose. Why is that loose? What? Am I turning it the wrong way? No. Ah, there, finally. By heck. Do you know what? Honestly, I was having an internal nightmare there, thinking I'm going to have to explain to Bax that it's come with the truss rod not even engaged, and you try explaining that to somebody. That'll be fun. So so we're feeling a little bit of tension now. So let's have a look. Oh, happy days. So that looks roughly flat to me. Now, when the strings are tensioned back to pitch, then what will happen is that even though that is flat now, the strings coming up to tension will actually cause the neck to bend ever so slight. I mean, when I say I'm doing this, but actually it's more this. It will cause the neck to bow just ever so slightly, which is what we want. So let's get that tensioned up and see if we've got the sliver that we're looking for. Aha! We now have the sliver that we were looking for instead of that great big gap. So the important thing is, so if you recall, it was reading 2 at the 12th. You can see this. It was reading 2 at the 12th before. So that should have dropped a fair old bit because I've not touched the saddles. So let me see, and that is, let's see this over here, which hopefully you can see. Actually, so that hopefully I can see. And that is now. Oh yeah. And there you go. So without even touching the saddles, that has now. Let me drop me a little bit. So without even touching the saddles, that has now dropped just by altering the neck tension. altering the neck straightness, that has now dropped to somewhere between 1.25 and 1.5. So that is so your truss rod makes a hell of a difference. So what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to set the saddles in the, I mean, for goodness sake, set the saddles. But now, so can you see how they are neither flat nor following a curve? So I'm just going to set them so that they look correct. And if it looks right, your chances are it'll be right. So let's do that. Lovely stuff. So the action is now down to precisely 1.25, and let's have a listen to a bit of bending. Is that the right place? Yeah, I did. 1.25. So. I am happy enough with that. So, yeah, so you know, I mean, really, the bottom line is, that's my seat. I nearly fell over. Never mind. We shall remain standing, as Elton John famously said. So you will also see now that the saddles are uniform. So you've got a grub screw at either side of each saddle, and we don't want to see them like this or like this. We want to see them nice and flat, but following a very, very gentle radius that doesn't fall at the bottom E quite as much as the top E, because of course the bottom E is thicker, so it needs a little bit more clearance, needs a little bit more room to oscillate, you see. So you know, if you do buy one of these and you're not very au fait with fixery and mucking about with, honestly, and I know that I keep banging on about this, but really, if your guitar plays like a pup, then just take it down to your local guy. 40 quid will transform your guitar playing life. Trust me on that. I mean, obviously, it doesn't benefit me because you live in Northampton and Spain and America and wherever, or the hanging gardens of Babylon, I'm not really sure. But certainly, if your guitar plays like a pig, then just get your wallet out and just spend that 40 quid or so to get it made right. And this now is absolutely perfect, absolutely ready to plug and play, and and they are well constructed. So have a look at the proper review at the weekend, and with that I shall properly bid you a fond farewell. So it really is adios. Adios, amigos. Ta-ra.